Welcome, folks. Preparing for Gimel Tammuz, which is tomorrow. Which I will be traveling to the Ohel. I've said that based on last night's class, everybody's a grown-up here. You got to write for yourself. Thank you. Rebbe, Rebbe, at ohelchabad.org. Yeah, everybody write in for yourself. Anybody who's watching this class, you're on the level now of an adult. Responsible meaning. So, Moshe Rabbeinu connects, Atatizava, you, Moshe, should connect the Jewish people. That's your job. Connect the Jewish people to Or Ein Sof, to the limitlessness of God. Not to a limited God, to a limitlessness of God. And we reciprocate by bringing the olive oil that will bring out in us the Mo'or, the core essence, and we bring that to Moshe Rabbeinu, to Moses. In other words, we reveal our core essence as a result, right? Meaning, we all have faith in God, but it is something that hovers and is uninternalized. He will internalize that in us. Because that's what Ariah Mehemna, faithful shepherd, does. He internalizes faith for us, makes it real for us. And so does the Moshe Rabbeinu in every generation, as Mordechai did in his generation, in every generation. And that gives us that we can then, in a time of chosis, of time of being crushed, which is a time of exile, when the light of God isn't revealed, that we can then reach to the mo'or, the essence of our being. Right. So we need to know, this is all based on the previous Rebbe's discourse. What is the explanation of that fact that we are broken in a time of exile, that we reach the essence and that which with the faithful shepherd? So first we give an explanation that will be then challenged, and we'll go to a deeper explanation. So Ata Titzava comes in connection to you shall connect, you shall command, you shall connect with that which is brought in the beginning of the discourse that says Ki v'la Yehudim, it's that the Jewish people, they kept that which they started to keep, meaning in the time of the story of Purim, that's where that phrase is from. They start they now, in other words, at the beginning, which is Matan Torah, which is the beginning of the Jewish people, that's when we began our relationship. That's when we began our connection. And in times of the decree of Achashverosh, in the days of Achashverosh, and the decree of Haman to destroy every Jew, that's when the complete acceptance was. It explains that this is something that's wondrous. Matan Torah, the Jewish people, giving the Torah, Mount Sinai, the Jewish people were at the highest level. This comes, Matan Torah, the giving of the Torah, comes after going out of Egypt miraculously. The miracle of the splitting of the sea. The revelation of God at Mount Sinai was even greater, as opposed to the times of Achashverosh, the story of Purim. Jewish people were in a very low level. In addition to the fact that it was exile, there was a story that took place in Persia, modern day Iran, Iraq. Times the Jewish were in exile. And exile means that it's hard for us to perceive the light of God. That's what exile means. And there are many challenges in life, the life of being connected to Hashem. But then, in particular, that's in general any exile. But then there was a decree of Haman to destroy all the Jewish people, which is even a greater exile. And yet, when we speak about Matan Torah, when the Jewish people were, the at such a high point, we say that that's only the beginning. That's the beginning of our connection to Hashem, and the beginning of our relationship. Beginning of, I don't know, beginning the relationship it was in a sense, but it was, it was not complete. Only in the times of the decree of Haman, when we were in such a low level, right? I mean, Jews had sinned by being at the festive meal of Achashverosh, and many other things that the Jews had sinned and therefore brought upon themselves a decree. Yet then we say that that was the completion of what started in Matan Torah. And as explained there in the discourse, in the time of the decree, from the fulfillment of Torah mitzvahs was with Mesiras Nefesh, self-sacrifice, as opposed to giving the Torah, there's no self-sacrifice. God revealed himself from above. But here was self-sacrifice, that they kept Torah mitzvahs, that in the times of Haman, such a self-sacrifice that if you declared yourself not part of the Jewish people, right? Not that it would be true, but if you declared yourself and you didn't have allegiance with the Jewish people, then the decree wasn't against you. So if you opted out from being a Jew, life would be fine. And guess what? No one did it. That's called self-sacrifice. No one has such a thought. And together with that, with the fulfillment of Torah mitzvahs, they also sacrificed to such a degree that when Mordechai gathered the Jewish people to fulfill Torah mitzvahs publicly, they did so. And this arousing of the sacrifice of every Jew was through Mordechai, who was the Moshe in his generation. That's why it was a complete, it was the completing the circle, completing the devotion to Hashem was in the times of Mordechai, which only began by the giving of the Torah. Because through the sacrifice in actuality for Torah mitzvahs, The Jewish people were raised to a much loftier level than they were at the time of the giving of the Torah. So what do we see? Greater loftiness during troubled times. Now, so we could say that the brokenness that brought to the core essence is an explanation in time of a decree, specifically is when the Mesiras Nefesh, the self-sacrifice, will come out. Now, why is it specifically then, in the time of decree, time of the challenge? Because self-sacrifice comes from the essence of the soul that's beyond revelation. Right? Which is the mo'or, the luminary from within, which the light emerges from. And when you're in a place of being crushed, that's when that essence of the soul is revealed. So accordingly, it comes out then, when we say in the verse, kosis lamor, crushed, to bring out the luminary, right? So, because the words kosis means in a time of decree. So it's coming because of the decree, right? That's what the verse would be saying. So it's not coming because Moshe had an effect on us and brought the internalized the our faith in a way that becomes a part of us, right? However, however, the way it's described in the discourse of the previous Rebbe is first brings the idea of the giving of the Torah, then the idea of the faithful shepherd, then after that being Kosis Lamor, that we are crushed and brings out the luminary from within. Which sounds like being crushed is connected to Moshe Rabbeinu, the faithful shepherd, that he feeds faith and internalizes it within us. Right? So we have to explain, based on that, that the Jewish people are believers. We have simple faith. That's part of the Jewish DNA. Meaning, what does it mean, simple faith? It means you don't need a proof. We don't need to prove the faith. There's two ways to understand that. One is because our mazel, meaning our soul in its source sees godliness. And the soul, the way it sees godliness, right, kind of trickles down inside of us. And when the soul is in the body, it believes, right? It believes in godliness. Another explanation is, why do we believe? Because that the root source of the soul is bound up with the divine, not because it sees above, but it's bound up with the divine, that the neshama is connected with the essential bond, not based on something, right? Seeing is based, seeing is believing, but you have to see to believe. So it's not essential. But here, it's an essential bond. And therefore, the faith of the soul, the way it's clothed in the body, that's the way it is above. Right. So, again, two ways. One is, why do we believe? It's because the soul sees above the divine. And therefore, the soul, the way it's enclosed in the body, kind of has a ripple effect. But that ripple effect is then, it is hovering over us, that belief. Right? It's beyond us because that's the way the soul is, that is beyond being enclosed within the body. That's what its perception is. In order that our faith should be, though, internalized, it's because we have an essential bond. So that essential bond to godliness that's above is also essential to the soul the way it is within the body. Right? So since it's essential, so therefore it's also internalized. Right? So in other words, we have two things over here. Jewish people are believers in godliness for two reasons. Because the soul sees above, right? Or because there's internal, essential bond. And the difference is seeing is makif, is encompassing, but it's still beyond. And when it's essential bond, then it becomes internalized. Okay. Stop. Hmm.
Amen.
Well, both are true. Essential is greater. So accordingly, the fact that the faith is internalized from the essential bond that we have, that the soul has with godliness. So we can now understand in the discourse this idea that we're broken and have reached to the core essence, that it comes in connection to the faithful shepherd, is because Moshe is feeding us the faith that it should be internalized, that we should reveal the essence of our soul, which is beyond seeing of the soul. And that which it says that we're broken, right? So it comes through the Rai Mehemna, the faithful shepherd, in order that it should be internalized, which is Ma'or, that should be internalized, that it should be part of me, um, of the essence, right? Because it comes from the essence. And that too, then what it will bring from the essence of the soul will be the self-sacrifice, that the self-sacrifice in a time of exile when we are broken. L'chaim. Well, we'll continue. I'm going to New York tomorrow morning, so I don't know. I want to do the class tomorrow morning, but I'm not exactly